Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Tiff and Tony Show.
Good morning and welcome to today's episode of the Tiff and Tony Show. Minus Tiffany, she had some scheduling conflicts, so I'm here on my own. I'm here with a great guest, a good friend of mine, someone I've worked with in the past, Vern Burton. Vern, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Tony. Thank you for that very nice intro. We'll get through this even if it's just you. Even if the other half isn't here, we can do this. So I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
I asked you onto the show just to talk to you about this new direction the Tiff and Tony Show is going, providing youth with a pathway to success. What are some of the factors, some of the driving factors that have led you to your success that you're experiencing today?
Probably this is what a lot of kids hear, but it is hard work. It's failing and then coming back from it, because I fail far more than I succeed. Absolutely.
Brilliant. You just said something there that I think every teenager, middle schooler, elementary schooler, every kid needs to hear. Failing is part of life. If you're not failing, you're not doing it right. Vern just said it. He failed more than he succeeded. I can echo that sentiment. Before we go any further, Vern, what is it that you do?
I am a principal of a school for what we call at promise youth. Some call them at risk, but we call them at promise. Students that for one reason or another have had some struggles in the traditional system. So the traditional will move them to what's called a continuation. And then if there's struggles there, then they'll come to me.
If you could travel back in time and give your childhood self some advice, what would you tell yourself?
You mean apart from investing in GameStop? Because that would probably be my first. Probably not to be so hard on myself. It's never too late. Stop measuring yourself against your friend who got accepted into med school. You know what I mean? Who you got better grades in science, but you screwed around so much and now he's on his way to being a doctor. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice. You've talked about failure. You've talked about kind of this not comparing. When you look at your pathway to your success, a principal is not a mean feat. That's hard work to get to where you got to today. What are some of the external challenges you faced to get to where you are today?
There's the obvious, which is all the schooling you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
The things that will blindside you at 3:00 on a lazy Tuesday that you weren't prepared for. And you can't let those pressures steer you away.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you want to go, oh, this happened, forget it. What I'm trying to roll out in my school is esports, a big proponent of game-based learning, because when you play video games, and I've been playing video games forever, probably more than I should probably admit, being someone in their 50s, and I still play video games. What I notice with students playing games is you're playing a game, you die or you lose. Do they throw the controller down and say, I'm never doing that again? You pick it right up, you get back in there, but when we're doing a math problem, and we don't get it, I'm done with this. I just can't do math. And so trying to bridge that mind with that, because kids, you've shown me these skills. You've shown me you can do this. You show me here on Red Dead Redemption. Well, let's try and put a little of that here.
I love the fact that you brought in the whole gaming thing. Put a math problem in front of them and they'll just give up. Put a game in front of them and they'll keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And there's so much resiliency that can be learned from gaming. One last question. Why do you think it's so important that we focus on the development of young leaders?
That's a big question. Apart from the obvious, they're the future. There is a shortage of good leadership. As I go through this process, right now I'm working on my doctorate in leadership. So obviously I'm reading a lot of books and it's causing me to reflect. And I'm not speaking just internally where I work. I have good leaders, but I'm noticing everywhere there's just a shortage of good leadership, of logical leadership, understanding. It's so important that you build these skills, you learn these skills. You guys need to make this world a little better. I got to hand the football off to you at some point, and I need to make sure that you have these skills and you're not too hard on yourself. You're still going to screw up. I make mistakes every day.
I love the fact that you're going in for your doctorate into leadership. I would love to continue that conversation on another day. Maybe we'll have you back on a show again sometime in the future just to talk about leadership. Your game is changing the direction in which we're heading, still doing all of the sports development, youth development, but we're really about creating the next generation of leaders.
You walk it like you talk it. When I had Pure Game, you are using those skills. I mean, we've seen some great leaders that Pure Game has helped grow in those classes. Appreciation to you, Tony. I'm very fortunate that I do have you as a friend in my life and seeing all the great work you're doing with kids, because you really do. Sorry you couldn't be here, Tiff. You blew it,
Yeah.
But
We'll definitely get you to meet Tiffany, because she's a great part of this show. Vern, thank you very much for your time. We look forward to seeing you sometime in the future so we can do this again, talk about leadership.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This has been great. And hang in there, kids.
Thank you so much for joining us in this week's episode of the Tiff and Tony Show. We hope you feel encouraged and motivated to keep growing. If you like what we do here at Pure Game, one of the best ways you can support us is by liking and sharing this video with your friends on social media. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel using the button directly below this video on YouTube, and you can donate at our website, www.thepuregame.org. And with that, we'll see you right back here next week.